What's that for?
To scare people. Whoever's feared is in charge.
What if someone doesn't listen?
Crush him.
What if he's strong?
Doesn't matter. People feel that in you and bend to your will.
Hello everybody and welcome to Detail Garage 54. My name is Roman, and this is a channel on how to look after cars properly. Today we're going to be working on this German beast. It's a G-wagon. Okay, let's have a closer look at what we'll be working with in this episode. Right, let's dive straight into it, shall we? Okay, so the exterior is quite obviously filthy and in terrible condition, which we are about to fix, of course. Now let's have a look at the interior. This all looks pretty horrendous. You've got greasy leather seats. They are clearly glossy, when they should have a matte look. The air vents are dirty, covered in dust. Even when looking at the seat controls, they're also all dusty, filthy, and greasy. Not what you'd call nice and clean. So we're going to have to rectify all of that. The headliner is a separate story, especially the sunroof opening, where you've got those huge patches of dirt. It must have accumulated somewhere in the nether regions, while the sunroof was being operated, opened and closed. And as a result, you've got those large patches of dirt. Back here, the rear seats are just as bad. This is filthy, so is this. I see a pair of gloves. It appears that they used this thing as a workhorse. Doesn't look like this was a weekend vehicle. Or even a typical sort of daily, for that matter. Now, the worst thing in here has to be the trunk. These are the types of cars they use to transport dead bodies. Now, upon opening the trunk, here's what we see. I see a terrible... well, I don't like it, at least. I mean, this rubber mat. Though it does appear to be factory. I mean, I do see a Mercedes logo on it. But I am definitely not a fan. It looks horrible in such a nice car. Like I mentioned, they probably transported dead bodies in here, or something along those lines. Maybe they drive this to a cemetery, or simply to their garden. Now, I don't know for sure, but I do know that I don't like it. And even back here, everything is scuffed up and filthy. Wow, it's heavy. Couldn't even shut it the first time. That's a G-wagon for you. So usually the driver's compartment is the filthiest. Oh my god, really? So usually the driver's seat is the filthiest place, but here I mean the entire car is equally dirty in all places. Yep, the floor mats and the carpet are dirty as. I can see a tea packet on the floor. We keep getting accused of planting stuff like this, but this one isn't even open. So he wanted to make some tea, but he didn't get there. So the driver's seat is also all glossy and greasy. We'll try fixing it. I mean, it is pretty rough, but nothing too bad, I guess. Now again, take a careful look at the seat controls. For them to look this bad, I can't even imagine what you have to do to them. They are just horribly greasy and dirty. I would not enjoy driving a car like this and having to move my seat around. But overall, it is a great car. I like it. Even though it's old, and everybody hates them, and talks shit about them, in a bunch of videos I've seen. Okay, let's get to work then. I take it this is going to be a long and tedious process. The car is big and very dirty, but we'll get there. We begin by cleaning and prepping the exterior. First, we apply some first phase to the entire body. Since G-wagons are pretty tall, I'll have no problem covering the underbody. And overall, this should really help us further down the line. Now we begin rinsing the underbody. For that, we take a dedicated nozzle that you can roll around, which we'll use to give everything a once-over. There are plenty of ways to do this. You can put the car onto a lift, raise each side with a jack, use such a washer, or a stationary floor-mounted setup. After doing the underbody, it's time to clean the body panels, while minding the wheel arches, creases, and seams. After completing the first washing stage, we move into the engine bay. Doesn't look too bad. You'd think that a quick spray should be enough, but if we remove the plastic covers, we immediately see all sorts of oily spots and so on. We need to cover any areas that aren't meant to get wet, wrapping them with bags and tape if necessary. Then we take an engine cleaning compound and evenly apply it all around the bay. We'll be using about 300 to 400 milliliters worth of it in this particular engine bay, depending on how dirty it is. We wait for 15 minutes and then do some manual cleaning with a brush and paintbrush. After that, we apply some first phase cleaner for a good measure. After waiting for a minute, we remove it using a pressure washer. Risky areas, such as the spark plug tubes, we clean with running water. After washing, let's not forget to thoroughly dry the engine with compressed air. The plastic we clean with some first phase and a moderately coarse brush. Don't forget to remove all of the pieces that aren't supposed to get wet. For example, this car was designed in such a way that the air filters are integrated into the plastic cover. Now we put the plastic back in place. We make sure that there's no water pooling anywhere and apply a conservation compound, which will help keep everything clean for a longer period of time. Time to continue prepping the bodywork. Next up, we have removing any bitumen. It's pretty hard to identify bitumen spots on black panels, so if you don't have enough light, keep a flashlight at hand just in case. We apply the compound, wait for 5 minutes, and use a sponge to remove all of the spots. The structure of the bitumen removal compound is such that you can't really wash it off with water, so we'll apply some first phase, wait a minute, and clean it off with a pressure washer. Then we remove metal particulates from the rims and the bodywork using the same basic method. Now it's time to hand wash the car with shampoo. First we do each separate wheel, and then we clean the bodywork. People keep telling us that using a sponge is not the way to go. Things are changing in the world, guys. And nowadays, this is very much considered a proven washing method. If you stick to the procedure, everything is going to be just fine. This particular method actually does make for a better result in the end. The last step in washing the exterior would be rubbing it with clay, which is rather important, and getting everything dry. Now we move to the deep cleaning area and take apart the cabin and cargo bay. We won't need to remove the rear bench, given that it folds down in such a way that we'll have zero trouble cleaning it. We start by carefully vacuuming the floor, as well as all the pockets, storage bins, door cards, the dashboard, and the headliner. Let's give the headliner a deep clean. We apply interior cleaner to one half of it, wait for 1 minute, and then begin scrubbing with a soft brush. After cleaning one section, we extract the compound, while spraying a little bit of water. Now we do the pillar trim. We use a fabric cleaner for the A-pillars, while further on we've got a bunch of pieces covered in leather. Yes, this car's interior is almost completely upholstered in leather. It does look pretty nice, but if you don't take care of it, it'll quickly become a mess. We're going to be using a leather cleaning compound that's good for all types of leather, able to remove any and all impurities without leaving any residue. We apply it to the panels from a spray bottle and to a soft brush in foam form, and then we start scrubbing. Then we'll use some microfiber to remove it. For the plastic, we'll be using a universal cleaner and a soft paintbrush. The front seats we'll clean separately. You might notice how the clean one on the right differs from the one on the left. Clean leather should have a matte finish and not be shiny. After some scrubbing, we can see how the foam is starting to become darker, to the point of almost turning black. We begin cleaning the floor by vacuuming it one more time, then we knock out any sand using a tornador, and vacuum once again. We don't want any sand to be left in there. After we knock everything out, we apply some fabric cleaner, scrub with a moderately coarse rotary brush, and extract the compound. The only thing left to do up front is clean the center console, where minding the small bits is crucial. We scrub some and move to the cargo bay. Now we clean the pillars with the leather trim, the rear hatch, and the floor panels. Now we clean everything that we removed to then reassemble the interior. We're almost done with the cabin. Now we just need to treat all of the leather elements with some conditioning cream made by Detail. This cream will make the leather more elastic, rich in color, and allow it to stay clean for longer. The car is almost prepared. We just need to apply a protective coating, clean the glass, blacken the tires, and restore the color of the exterior plastic trim. The panels need to be degreased before we apply protective coating. Now we apply some hard wax in circular motions, which we'll proceed to rub in with a soft microfiber towel. And with that, we're done cleaning this G-wagon. And the results are just delicious. We did the cabin, deep cleaned everything, washed the engine bay, applied some hard wax, and this is what we end up with. Beautiful. Okay, I'm Roman, Detail Garage 54. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, and watch out for new videos. Over and out.